that's the
So,
base phase, isn't it?
yeah,
What you call intermittent fasting. It's a fast of somewhere between 12 and 16 hours.
that's right.
And let's
That's
just define fast. What does that mean? It means no
yeah.
food, presumably, but what about drinks?
Yeah, so it means that your blood sugar is not rising, that it needs to start to decline, it needs to decrease to be able to signal that you go over into that fat burning state. So when you are fasting, if you drink something that raises your blood sugar, now you've pulled yourself out of the fasted state. So, there are a lot of people do coffee in their fasting window. For many people, that works, and we can talk, about all the nuance around coffee and drinks. Some people have asked me, like, well, can I do like a diet soda? And we know that NutraSweet can actually spike insulin, so that's not a good choice. So we really need to be able to keep our blood sugar in this downward momentum to be able to switch over.
So like a black coffee wouldn't tend to raise people's blood sugar, whereas,
That's right.
I don't know, what is it? Mocha frappuccino type,
Yeah.
modern sugar-filled, chemical-filled
That's
coffee.
right.
That it's still coffee, but actually because of what's with the coffee, that's going to take you out of that zone. So black tea would probably be okay as well, but milk in tea?
Yeah, I mean, so this is where the nuance really comes in, and it's an individual thing. So what controls our blood sugar levels is our microbiome, and we all have a different microbiome profile. So it's hard for me to say. I can pretty much say off the experience that I've seen that 99% of the people who drink black coffee or black tea, they're not going to have a raise. Their glucose will not go up, and they will continue to go towards that fat burning system. But once we put cream in there, for some, a full fat cream will actually accelerate the decline and the decrease of their glucose, moving them even closer into that fat burning state and keeping them in a fasted state. But somebody else with a microbiome profile that's vastly different, they put cream in their coffee and now their blood sugar goes up. So in the book, I give a blood sugar test that you need to do to see if these drinks that you're leaning into in your fasting window are actually supporting you in a fasted state, because there's a lot of bio-individuality in that moment.
Are you, on a slight aside here, I am aware there's a cost implication of these devices. What is your thoughts on CGMs, continuous glucose monitors? I personally have found them to be an incredible tool for patients, for myself, to help teach you how your body responds to something. I think they can be overdone. I think people can use them without full context and get health anxiety around them. But I have to say, I've very rarely in medicine seen something that can change behavior so well, so quickly. I'd love to know your perspective on that.
Yeah, there is no tool out there that will change your relationship to food like a CGM.
Yeah.
I think everybody should put it on it. And I'll tell you what I do. When I'm working with women one-on-one to get their hormones back on track, the first thing we do is we take the scale away. We get this because the scale is not giving you any indication as to the metabolic health of your body. That number on the scale will not tell you that. But then we put a CGM on, and then I have them test everything. Eat your favorite foods. Just go ahead and eat for those CGMs usually last about 2 weeks. Just eat the way you normally eat, and let's see what your food behaviors are doing to your blood sugar levels. Now it becomes intrinsic because they get to see, oh my gosh, and it can be healthy things. The first time I did this, I had cauliflower chips, thinking it was grain free. It spiked my blood sugar higher than a potato chip.
Yeah. I agree. And I don't want to go completely down the rabbit hole of CGMs, but I've written 5 books now. The first 4, I covered food in detail, and each one, I know what a healthy diet is. I've been using food as medicine with patients for years. I was like, oh, wow. I didn't realize that this healthy food was doing this to me. And it really has changed my food behavior for the better. And I can feel stable blood sugar, more energy, more stable mood on the back of it. So I am a fan in a way that I'm not a fan of all health trackers. I don't think they should all be widespreadly used as they are. But I do think CGMs have a particularly unique place. Back to fasting. So you have these 6 length of fasts, right? Length 1 is that 12 to 16 hour one. Length 2 is what you call the autophagy fast, 17 hours plus. What's going on there?
Yeah. So autophagy around 17 hours, look at your body will start to go into this state of autophagy. And it's like a dimmer switch. It starts at 17 hours. And there's based off science, it peaks at 72 hours. So you're just starting this new state. And here's what the state is. Your body was so well designed that at 17 hours of that blood sugar dropping, it starts to go, okay, I get it. No food's coming in. I need to become stronger. And the intelligence will turn within the cell and it'll look around at the cell and it'll say, what inside this cell is not working for the survival of this human that we're in. So it's going to start to look at bacteria and viruses and push those out of the cell. It's going to repair mitochondria. You're going to see things like endoplasmic reticulum and all the working parts within the cell start to become stronger and the body repairs itself. The second thing that happens at 17 hours is some cells are incredibly damaged. Some cells are going to become cancer cells. Some are rogue cells. Some are aging cells. We call those senescent cells. And so the intelligent body, if it decides a cell is going to slow down the survival of a human, it will actually kill that cell and get rid of it. And we call that apoptosis. And all of that happens without a detox supplement, without any kind of special strategy. You just go 17 hours without food, and the body figures out what cells it needs to repair and what cells it needs to get rid of.
Yeah, it's just incredible. And I hope we get time later on in this conversation to go through all the varied benefits of fasting. But you just touched on a few there, like, you've already mentioned type 2 diabetes, reduced weight. I know you write about improved immune system function. You just mentioned cancer cells there and how there is research now showing how fasting set periods can have an impact on your risk of cancer and all kinds of things. So there is a case for us all to consider some form of fasting in our life, whatever that might be, however it might fit our lifestyle. So I just wanted to highlight that gut health, right? Gut health is something you also talk about. And I think that's that third level of fast. That's a 24-hour fast you say is very, very good for your gut.
Yeah. So the research on that one was done out of MIT, and it showed that at 24 hours, there is a reboot of intestinal stem cells. So we have to stop and think, why does the body do this? So at 24 hours, it's a long enough period for the body to go, okay, food is not coming in. So I need to prepare for that moment that food comes in. I need to make sure that when food comes in, we are utilizing food to our best advantage. So what it will do in these intestinal stem cells is we have this thin mucosal lining on the inner side of our gut. It starts to repair that. So anybody with a leaky gut, a 24-hour fast is an incredible tool for you. Anybody with SIBO, what we know is that what also will happen in that moment is that bacteria that no longer serves us, the bad bacteria in our gut, we will get rid of that. So with SIBO, with any kind of gut dysbiosis, now we're seeing the bad go away and we're creating an environment where that good can really flourish. And then the last thing on that, and this one's really interesting. I'm not sure if you've ever talked to Dr. Emran Mayer, but he wrote the gut immune. He's wrote several books on gut health, but I interviewed him on my podcast to talk about gut immune health. And he talks about the idea that when our bacteria are clumped together inside our guts, that we cannot absorb the food and turn it in to pull the B vitamins out and all the nutrients that we need to pull out of our food, that we actually need our microbes to be more evenly spaced on the inside of our gut linings for nutrition to be able to be broken down. So at 24 hours, we see a relocation of these microbes where they stop clumping together and they start to spread out. So think about that, the implication of that.
Okay, check this out. I have a free fasting guide for you all. It's free. and it's going to teach you all the basics of fasting. It's going to teach you how to kill hunger when you fast, which is really cool, and it's going to show you how to break your fast, among many other things. All you got to do is click on this link right here and enjoy.
One day, let's say one day a week, maybe one day a month, you go 24 hours without food. That has a better chance at repairing your gut than all the probiotics in the world, all the enzymes in the world. Once I clued into this, I literally stopped giving supplements that supported gut health to my patients because I found a 24-hour fast was way more powerful.
I mean, it's so powerful. A couple of things there. You mentioned SIBO. For people who don't know, that's an abbreviation, SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and that can show up with symptoms such as bloating, constipation, just that kind of generalized discomfort, often after eating. It's very, very common. So I can see how fasting would do that. Incidentally, Mindy, I don't know if you found this, when people practice just a basic form of time-restricted eating, right? Let's say that would fit into your sort of phase 1 fast, whether it's 12 hours of eating, 12 hours of not, or 10 hours of eating and 14 hours of not. The amount of people who report back, my irritable bowel syndrome symptoms were better. My constipation was better. My bloating, right? So it all highlights the point you made right at the start of the conversation that we are designed and built to have periods of time without food, but the modern world has made it so that many of us simply don't do it anymore, right?
That's
so
right.
I think that was really great to understand that. Let's go through 4, 5, and 6. The fat burner fast, the dopamine fast I found really interesting, and the immune reset fast. Let's just briefly go through them because I really want to get to the cycle and how these different lengths should be applied by women at different times.
Yeah, so I'll go through them quickly, but there's some incredible healing that happens at 36, 48, and 72. So 36, I call it the fat burner reset. What I saw is that as I was teaching these concepts on YouTube, there were a lot of people showing up saying, okay, I'm doing a 24-hour fast. I'm doing all the things you're saying that I should do, but I'm not losing weight. And what I realized is that they needed to go into some longer fasts. And at 36 hours, there's some great research showing us that over a 30-day period, that if people did 36 hours of fasting followed by 12 hours of eating, and then 36 hours of fasting, 12 hours of eating, repeating that cycle for 30 days, that not only did they lose more weight than people who just did like one meal a day, but that they actually lost the weight in belly fat. Now, think about that for a moment, because everybody, wants to lose belly fat. Obviously, that's a big motivator, but that's visceral fat. That's the fat that kills you. So dipping into a 36-hour fast, you can really start to turn. And one of the things that it does, it'll turn white fat into brown fat so that it's easier for your body to burn. So that's why I called it the fat burner reset. At 48 hours, what we see is your whole dopamine system gets rebooted. So the whole process in which we utilize dopamine is reset. But that's not the most impressive part. We actually started to see D2 receptor sites, dopamine receptor sites, more receptor sites start to be produced and open up so that when you come out of that fast, you actually are able to enjoy the simple dopamine rushes of life. And so that happens at 48. And then 72 is the immune reset that Walter Longo brought us, which is rebooting your whole white blood cell and your whole immune system.
Okay, so if you love this video, you're going to want to check out the next video in my fasting series. I know that fasting helps you lose weight without changing your food, but if you're intermittent fasting and gaining weight, then I really recommend that you look at 3 food changes.